Welcome to the video lecture of Food Process Technology. I am Dr. Remya, Associate Professor, Department of Industrial Biotechnology. Today's topic is processing by the removal of heat. In the unit operations, a reduction in the temperature of foods slows the biochemical and microbiological changes that would otherwise take place during storage. Preservation by lowering the temperature of foods has important benefits in maintaining their sensory characteristics as well as nutrition value to produce high quality products. So many of the developments in minimal processing methods as well as storage of fresh foods, they depend on chilling as a main preservation component. Rapid expansion of ready-to-eat chilled foods, which may also be packed in modified atmospheres, has been an important development over the last few years. So in general, the lower the storage temperature, longer foods can be stored, and freezing continues to be an important method of processing to produce foods that have longer shelf life. And freeze drying and freeze conservation, they remain important process for some high value products. But the high operating cost of these technologies, they remain important factor to their more widespread adoption. Microorganisms and enzymes are inhibited at low temperatures, but unlike heat processing, they are not destroyed. Any increase in temperature can therefore permit the growth of pathogenic bacteria or increase the rate of spoilage of foods. So careful control is needed to maintain a low storage temperature and prepare foods quickly under strict hygienic conditions to prevent spoilage or food poisoning. The need to maintain chill or frozen temperatures throughout the distribution chain is a major cost to producers and retailers. And this area has seen significant developments to improve the efficiency, to reduce cost, and to reduce the risk of spoilage and food poisoning. And in today's session, we are going to see detail about chilling process. The freezing, freeze drying, and freeze conservation will be dealing in the upcoming sessions. Chilling is the unit operation in which the temperature of a food is reduced to between -1 degree centigrade and 8 degrees centigrade. So it is used to reduce the rate of biochemical and microbiological changes, and hence to extend the shelf life of fresh and processed foods. It causes minimal changes to sensory characteristics and nutritional properties of foods, and as a result, chilled foods are perceived by consumers as convenient, easy to prepare, high quality, healthy, natural, and fresh. So chilling is often used in combination with other unit operations. For example, fermentation or pasteurization, to extend the shelf life of mildly processed foods. There is a greater preservative effect when chilling is combined with control of the composition of the storage atmosphere than that found using either unit operation alone. So, however, not all foods can be chilled, and tropical, subtropical, and some temperate fruits, they also suffer from chilling injury at 3 to 10 degrees centigrade above their freezing point. So chilling foods are grouped into three categories. First is -1 to +1 degree centigrade. That is for fresh fish, meats, sausage, and ground meats. The second category is from 0 degree to 5 degrees centigrade. That is pasteurized canned milk, meat, cream, yogurt, salads, baked goods, fresh pastas, etc. Then the third category is from 0 to 8 degrees centigrade. That is fully cooked meats and fish pies, cooked or uncooked, cured meats, butter, hard cheese, etc. So the successful supply of chilled foods to the consumer is heavily dependent on sophisticated and relatively expensive distribution system, which involve chill stores, refrigerated transport, and retail chill display cabinets, together with widespread ownership of domestic refrigerators. So precise temperature control is essential at all stages to avoid the risk of food spoilage or food poisoning. In particular, low acid chilled foods, which are susceptible to contamination by certain pathogenic bacteria, that for example, fresh and pre-cooked meats, pizzas, and unbaked dough. They must be prepared, packed, and stored under strict conditions of hygiene and temperature control. The next we'll see about fresh foods. The rate of biochemical changes caused by microorganisms or naturally occurring enzymes, they increase logarithmically with temperature. Chilling therefore reduces the rate of enzymatic and microbiological changes, as well as they retards respiration of fresh foods. So the factors that control the shelf life of fresh crops in chill storage include the type of food and variety. The second is the part of crop selected, that is the fastest growing parts have the highest metabolic rates and the shortest storage lives. The third is the condition of the food are at harvest. For example, the presence of mechanical damage or by some other microbial contaminations and the degree of maturity. The next one is the temperature of harvest, storage, distribution, and retail display. The last one, the relative humidity of the storage atmosphere that influences dehydration loss. The rate of respiration of fresh fruits is not necessarily constant at a constant storage temperature. Fruits which undergo climacteric ripening shows a short but abrupt increase in the rate of respiration, which occurs near to the point of optimum ripeness. So the climacteric fruits, they include apple, apricot, banana, mango, peach, plum, and tomato. So now non-climacteric fruits include cherry, cucumber, fig, grapes, lemon, pineapple, and strawberry. Vegetables respire in a similar way to non-climacteric fruits. So differences in respiratory activity of selected fruits and vegetables have seen here. So the undesirable changes to some fruits and vegetables, they occur when the temperature is reduced below a specific optimum for the individual fruit. So this is termed chilling injury and results in various physiological changes. For example, internal or external browning, then failure to ripen, and skin blemishes. The reasons for this are not fully understood, but may include an imbalance in metabolic activity, which results in the overproduction of metabolites that then become toxic to the tissues. The optimum storage temperature and relative humidity and expected storage time may differ for variety of fresh fruits and vegetables. In animal tissues, aerobic respiration rapidly declines when the supply of oxygenated blood is stopped at slaughter. So anaerobic respiration of glycogen to lactic acid then cause the pH of the meat to fall and the onset of rigor mortis, in which the muscle tissue becomes firm and inextensible. Cooling during anaerobic respiration is necessary to produce the required texture and color of meat and to reduce bacterial contamination. Undesirable changes caused by cooling meat before rigor mortis has occurred, they are termed as cold shortening. To chill fresh foods, it is necessary to remove both sensible heat, that is also known as field heat, and heat generated by respiratory activity. So the size of a refrigeration plant and the processing time required to chill a crop are calculated using some unsteady state heat transfer method. So a number of assumptions are made to simplify the calculations also. The next comes here is the processed foods. So a reduction in temperature below the minimum necessary for microbial growth extends the generation time of microorganisms and effect prevents or retards reproduction. So there are four broad categories of microorganisms based on the temperature range of growth. The first is thermophilic, that is minimum is 30 to 40 degrees centigrade, optimum 55 to 65 degrees centigrade. Second is mesophilic, minimum is 5 to 10 degrees centigrade and optimum is 30 to 40 degrees centigrade. The third one is psychotrophic, the minimum is between 0 to 5 degrees centigrade and optimum is 20 to 30 degrees centigrade. Psychrophilic is minimum 0 to 5 degrees centigrade and optimum 12 to 18 degrees centigrade. The chilling prevents the growth of thermophilic and many mesophilic microorganisms. The main microbiological concerns with these chilled foods are a number of pathogens that can grow during extended refrigerated storage below 5 degrees centigrade or as a result of any increase in temperature, and that may cause food poisoning. So previously it was considered that refrigeration temperature would prevent the growth of pathogenic bacteria. But it is now known that some species can either grow to large numbers at these temperatures or sufficiently virulent to cause poisoning after ingestion of only a few cells. Examples of these pathogens are Aeromonas hydrophila, Listeria species, Yersinia enterocolitica, some strains of Bacillus cereus, Vibrio parahemolyticus, and Escherichia coli. So the example of Escherichia coli, they may cause hemorrhagic qualities after ingestion of a little as stem cells. So the total summary of this sources of this bacteria, types of infection or spoilage, and typical high risk foods you can see in this table. So it is therefore essential that good manufacturing practice, that is GMP, is enforced during the production of chilled foods. The shelf life of chilled processed foods, they are determined by the type of food, the degree of microbial destruction or enzyme inactivation that has been achieved by the process, then control of hygiene during processing and packaging, then the barrier properties of the package, then the temperatures during processing, distribution, and storage. The next is about cook-chill systems. The individual foods, for example, sliced roast meats or complete meals, they are produced by cook-chill or cook-pasteurized chill process. So these products, they include complete meals or components such as sauces that were developed for institutional catering to replace warm holding that reduces losses in nutritional and eating quality and is less expensive. So their production is also described in retail stores. Sales of increasingly wide range of cooked, chilled, ready meals have rapidly expanded owing to their convenience, high quality, and healthy image. So the range of chill foods can be characterized by the class of microbial risk as class 1. So these foods containing raw or uncooked ingredients such as salad or cheese as ready to eat, that is said to be RTE foods. They also include chill stable raw foods such as meat, fish, etc. And class 2, the products made from a mixture of cooked and low risk raw ingredients. Class 3, cooked products that are then packed. Class 4, the products that are cooked after packaging, including ready to eat products for extended durability, that having a shelf life of 40 plus days. So the manufacturer is only able to control the safety of these products by minimizing the levels of pathogen on the incoming ingredients by ensuring that processing and storage procedures do not introduce pathogens or allow their numbers to increase. Therefore, in addition to normal hygienic manufacturing areas, the products in class 1, class 2 and class 4, they require a special hygienic area designed to be easily cleaned to prevent certain types of bacterial species. So products in class 2 and class 3 also they require an additional high care area which is physically separated from other areas and is carefully designed to isolate cooked foods during preparation, assembly of meals, chilling and packaging. So such areas have specified hygiene requirements that includes positive pressure ventilation with microfiltered air supplied at the correct temperature and humidity. The second one is entry and exit of staff only through changing rooms. Then the third one is no touch washing facilities. Fourth one, construction standards and materials for easy cleaning. The next is only fully processed foods and packaging materials admitted through hatches or airlocks. The next one is special hygiene training for operators and fully protective clothing that including boots, coats, etc. Then the operational procedures to limit the risk of contamination. The last one is production stopped for cleaning and disinfection every 2 hours. So after preparation, cooked chilled foods are portioned and chilled within 30 minutes of cooking. Chilling to 3 degrees centigrade should be completed within 90 minutes and the food should be stored at 0 to 3 degrees centigrade. So in the cook pasteurized chill system, hot food is filled into flexible container. A partial vacuum is formed to remove oxygen and the pack is heat sealed. So it is then pasteurized to a minimum temperature of 80 degrees centigrade for 10 minutes at the thermal center, and it is followed by immediate cooling to 3 degrees centigrade. So these foods have a shelf life of 2 to 3 weeks. Next, coming to the equipment. So chilling equipment is classified by the method used to remove heat into two systems. Like one is mechanical refrigerators and the second is cryogenic system. Batch or continuous operation is possible with both types of equipments, but all should lower the temperature of the product as quickly as possible through the critical warm zone, that is between 50 to 10 degrees centigrade, where the maximum growth of microorganisms occur. So first we'll see about mechanical refrigerators. The mechanical refrigerators, they have four basic elements. That is, first one is an evaporator, a compressor, a condenser, and an expansion valve that could be seen in this figure. So the components of refrigerators are frequently constructed from copper, as the low thermal conductivity allows high rates of heat transfer and high thermal efficiencies. So in the evaporator, the liquid refrigerant evaporates under reduced pressure, and in doing so, they absorbs latent heat of vaporization and cools the freezing medium. So this is the most important part of refrigerator. The remaining equipment is used to recycle the refrigerant. Then the next is refrigerant vapor passes from the evaporator to the compressor where the pressure is increased. Then the vapor then passes to the condenser where the high pressure is maintained and the vapor is condensed. The liquid passes through the expansion valve where the pressure is reduced to restart refrigeration cycle. So the important properties of refrigerants are, the first one is a low boiling point and high latent heat of vaporization, a dense vapor to reduce the size of the compressor, low toxicity and non-flammable, low miscibility with the oil in the compressor. The last one is low cost. Ammonia has excellent heat transfer properties and is not miscible with oil, but it is toxic and flammable and causes corrosion of copper pipes. Carbon dioxide is non-flammable and non-toxic, making it safer for use, for example, on refrigerated ships, but it requires considerably higher operating pressures when compared to ammonia, the first one. Then the halogen refrigerants, that is chlorofluorocarbons or CFCs. So these are all non-toxic and non-flammable and have good heat transfer properties and lower cost than other refrigerants. So their interaction with ozone in the Earth's atmosphere and consequent contribution to global warming as greenhouse gases that has resulted in an international ban on their use as refrigerants under the Montreal Protocol. Then the next is partially halogenated CFCs or It can be called as HCFCs, that is halogenated. They are less environmentally harmful, and existing HCFCs are being temporarily substituted for CFCs, that is chlorofluorocarbons. But these two are to be phased out before the first decades of the new century. So newer ozone-friendly HCFCs are being developed and are likely to become important refrigerants. The main refrigerants that are now used are Freon 22 and ammonia, with the possibility of future use of propane. Then the chilling medium in mechanically cooled chillers may be air, water, or metal surfaces. Air chillers, for example, blast chillers use forced convection to circulate air at around -4 degrees centigrade at high speed, and then reduce the thickness of boundary films to increase the rate of heat transfer. Air blast chillers are also used in refrigerated vehicles, but food should be adequately chilled when loaded onto the vehicle, as the refrigeration plant is only designed to hold food at the required temperature and cannot provide additional cooling of incompletely chilled food. Eutectic plate systems are another type of cooling that is used in refrigerated vehicles, especially for local distribution. Salt solution, for example, potassium chloride, sodium chloride, or ammonium chloride are frozen to their eutectic temperature, that is from -3 to 21 degrees centigrade, and air is circulated across the plates to absorb heat from the vehicle trailer. Retail chill cabinets use chilled air which circulates by natural convection. The cost of chill storage is high, and to reduce cost, large stores may have a centralized plan to circulate refrigerants to all cabinets. So the heat generated by the condenser can be used for in-store heating. Computer control of multiple cabinets, they detect excessive rise in temperature and warns of any requirement for emergency repairs or plant maintenance. So other energy saving devices include night blinds or glass doors on the front of cabinet to trap cold air. The next type is cryogenic chilling. A cryogen is a refrigerant that changes phase by absorbing latent heat to cool the food. Cryogenic chillers, they use solid carbon dioxide, liquid carbon dioxide, or liquid nitrogen. Solid carbon dioxide removes latent heat of sublimation, and liquid cryogens remove latent heat vaporization. The gas also absorbs sensible heat as it warms from -78 degrees centigrade or from -196 degrees centigrade to give a total refrigerant effect. So the advantages of carbon dioxide include a higher boiling and sublimation point than nitrogen, and therefore a less severe effect on the food. So most of enthalpy, that is the heat capacity, arises from the conversion of solid or liquid to gas. So only about 13% of the enthalpy from liquid carbon dioxide and 15% from the solid is contained in the gas itself. So this compares with 52% in nitrogen gas, that is approximately half of refrigerant effect of liquid nitrogen arises from sensible heat absorbed by the gas. So carbon dioxide does not, therefore they require gas handling equipment to extract most of the heat capacity, whereas liquid nitrogen, they does. The main limitations of carbon dioxide and to a lesser extent nitrogen is its ability to cause asphyxia. So there is therefore a maximum safe limit for operators of 0.5% carbon dioxide by volume, and excess carbon dioxide is removed from the processing area by an exhaust system to ensure operator safety. So other hazards associated with liquefied gases includes cold burns, hypothermia after exposure to intense cold. And salt carbon dioxide can be used in the form of dry ice pellets, or liquid carbon dioxide can be injected into air to produce fine particles of solid carbon dioxide, which rapidly sublime to gas. So both types are deposited onto or mixed with food in trays, cartons, or on conveyors. So a small excess of pellets continues the cooling during the transportation or storage prior to further processing. Liquid nitrogen is used in both freezing and chilling operations. For batch chilling, typically 90 to 200 kg of food is loaded into an insulated stainless steel cabinet that containing centrifugal fans and a liquid nitrogen injector. The liquid nitrogen vaporizes immediately and the fans distribute the cold gas around the cabinet to achieve a uniform reduction in product temperature. So the chiller has a number of pre-programmed time temperature cycles which are microprocessor controlled. The food prop monitors the temperature of the product and the control system changes the temperature inside the cabinet as the food cools, and thus allowing the same pre-programmed cycle to be used irrespective of the temperature of the incoming food. So as with other types of batch equipment, it is highly flexible in operation and it is therefore suitable for low production volumes or where a large number of specialty products are produced. So for continuous chilling, food is passed on a variable speed conveyor to an inclined insulated cylindrical barrel that having certain diameters and length depending on the capacity. Some applications of cryogenic cooling includes sausage manufacture, where carbon dioxide removes the heat generated during size reduction and mixing, and the cryogenic grinder, where the cryogen reduces dust levels. They prevents dust explosions and improves the throughput of mills. So in spice milling, cryogens also prevent the loss of aromatic components. So in the production of multi-layer chilled foods, the first layer of product is filled and the surface is hardened with carbon dioxide. Then the next layer can then be added immediately without waiting for the first layer to set, and thus permit continuous and more rapid processing. And some other applications include cooling, hardening of hot bakery products, and chilling floor to obtain accurate and consistent floor temperatures for dough preparation. The next is about chill storage. So once a product has been chilled, the temperature must be maintained by refrigerated storage. Chill stores are normally cooled by circulation of cold air produced by mechanical refrigeration units. And foods may be stored on pallets, racks, or in the case of carcass meats hung from hooks. So the transport of foods into and out of stores may be done using pallet trucks, by forklift truck, or by computer controlled robotic trucks. Then we'll see about control of storage conditions, that the importance of maintaining temperature below 5 degrees centigrade to meet safety, quality, and legal requirements for high risk products. So fresh products may also require control of the relative humidity in a storeroom, and in some cases control over the composition of the storage atmosphere. So in all stores, it is important to maintain an adequate circulation of air using fans to control the temperature, relative humidity, or atmospheric composition. Foods are therefore stacked in ways that enable air to circulate freely around all sides. So this is particularly important for respiring foods to remove heat generated by respiration, or for foods such as cheese in which flavor development takes place during storage. Adequate air circulation is also important when high storage humidities are used for fresh fruits and vegetables. So in some situations, lower relative humidity may be used, with some product wilting accepted as a compromise for reduced microbial spoilage. The next comes temperature monitoring. Temperature monitoring, it is an integral part of quality management and product safety management throughout the production and distribution chain. So improvements to microelectronics over a few years that has enabled the development of monitoring devices that can both store large amount of data and integrate this into computerized management systems. So there are certain list of specifications of commonly used data loggers. So these are connected to temperature sensors which measure either air temperatures or product temperatures to give a representative picture of the way in which the refrigeration system is functioning. So here there are three main types of sensor that are used commercially. That is thermocouples, platinum resistance thermometers, and semiconductor or thermistors. Thermocouples are a pair of dissimilar metals joined together at one end. The most widely used are type K, that is nickel, chromium, and nickel aluminium, or type T, that is copper and copper nickel. The advantages over other sensors are lower cost, a rapid response time, and very wide range of temperature measurements. That is about minus 184 degrees centigrade to minus 1600 degrees centigrade. So thermistors change resistance with temperatures and have a higher accuracy than thermocouples, but they have a much narrower range too. Then platinum resistance thermometers, they are accurate and have temperature range from minus 270 to minus 850 degrees centigrade. 270 to 850 degrees centigrade, but their response time is slower and they are more expensive than other sensors too. So sensors are usually connected to either a chart recorder or an electronic digital display, which may also be able to store data and sound an alarm if the temperature exceeds a preset limit. Monitoring air temperatures is more straightforward than product temperature monitoring and does not involve damage to the product or packages. So it is widely used to monitor chill stores, refrigerated vehicles, and display cabinets. So, however, it is necessary to establish the relationship between air temperature and product temperature in a particular installation. Air is continuously recirculated through the refrigeration unit and storeroom. Cold air is warmed by the product, by lights in a store, by vehicles, or by doors opening or operators entering. The temperature of the returning air is therefore likely to be as the same as the product temperature or slightly higher. So by comparing this to the temperature of the air leaving the evaporator in the refrigeration unit to find the temperature differential, it is possible to measure the performance of refrigeration system and its effectiveness in keeping the food cold. So where a store, cabinet or vehicle is not open for long periods, the only changes in temperature comes from defrost cycles and intermittent door opening, and the relationship between product and air temperature is relatively simple. So the operation of open retail display cabinets is more sensitive to variations in room temperature or humidity. The action of customers and staff in handling foods and lighting to display products. The temperature distribution in the cabinet can therefore change and load testing becomes more difficult. So in such situation, there is likely to be substantial variations in air temperature, but the mass of food remains at a more constant temperature and air temperature measurement has little effect. So in addition to temperature sensors, the temperature of chill foods can be monitored by temperature or time temperature indicators, which use physico-chemical changes to display current temperature, crossing of a threshold temperature, integration of the temperature, and the time that a food has been exposed to a particular temperature. So these devices are based on either melting point temperature, enzyme reaction, polymerization, electrochemical corrosion, or liquid crystals. Then we'll see about effect on foods. The process of chilling foods to their correct storage temperature may cause little or no reduction in eating quality or nutritional properties of food. The most significant effect of chilling on the sensory characteristics of processed foods is hardening due to solidification of fats and oils. Chemical, biochemical, and physical changes during refrigerated storage, they leads to loss of quality, and in many instances it is these changes rather than microbiological growth limits the shelf life of chill foods. So these changes include enzymic browning, lipolysis, color and flavor deterioration in some products, and retrogradation of starch to cause staling of baked products that which occurs more rapidly at refrigeration temperature than at room temperature. Lipid oxidation is one of the main causes of quality loss in cooked chilled products, and cooked meats in particular rapidly develop an oxidized flavor termed warmed over flavor, that is said to be WOF. So physicochemical changes including migration of oils from some of the mayonnaises to cabbage in chilled synergies in sauces and gravies due to change in starch thickness. Then evaporation of moisture from unpackaged chilled meats and cheese more rapidly staling of sandwich bread at reduced temperature and moisture migration from sandwich fillings, they all may each results in quality deterioration. So vitamin losses during chill storage of selected fresh and processed foods can be seen in this table. So in cooked chill systems, nutritional losses, they are very insignificant for thiamine, riboflavin, and retinol. But the vitamin C losses are 3.3 to 16 percentage per day at 2 degrees centigrade. So the large variation is due to differences in the chilling time, storage temperature, oxidation, that is the amount of food surface exposed to air, and reheating conditions. So here loss of vitamins during chilled storage of selected foods were given for fruits and vegetables as well as for meats. Then it has given the losses per, that is percentage per day for ascorbic acid, thiamine, riboflavin, pyridoxine, and carotene were given here. So the storage temperatures, then relative humidity, storage time, that has also been mentioned here in the bottom of the table. So that's all about chilling. Thank you.